You recently gave a talk at an innovation conference where you discussed innovation in a way that was different from what your audience had heard before. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I spent some time talking with them ahead of time, and I found out that they had a lot of barriers to innovating, and they had a lot of beliefs that I thought were holding them back from innovating. And so I wanted to spend some time telling them what innovation was not, as a way to kind of unlock some of those things for them. And so I talked about three things. The first being innovation is not easy. And what I wanted to try to do with that was to explain to them that the struggles that they were having were natural. Innovation is not something that just you snap your fingers and it happens. Despite what a lot of books tell you, despite what a lot of presenters on innovation will tell you, innovation takes work to create the types of things you're going to brainstorm on, understanding what user needs are, your business needs are, and then breaking down those barriers and that baggage that so many people bring to the table when they're brainstorming, thinking about what they already know. So I really wanted to reinforce that to them, to kind of give them the ability to recognize that if it wasn't going easy, it didn't mean they were necessarily doing something wrong. And the second thing that I talked about was that innovation doesn't stop at the great idea. Innovation has got to include the entire process. So you may have a board full of hundreds and hundreds of ideas. That's not the end of it. You've got to figure out a way to understand and narrow that down. Does it meet a business need? Does it meet a user need? How about what's going on in the market? Whatever that might be, you really have to understand that. And then additionally, I think it's important to think about the culture of innovation, and does a company have that? So you may have a great idea, but is your company going to support it? Are they going to put the money behind it, the time behind it, and take the risk associated sometimes with being innovative? And the final thing that I talked about was innovation is not the Apple iPod. And now I'm not knocking the Apple iPod. I own a couple. I know you do. The fact is that it's not the only example of innovation, is the point that I try to make. And I think that so many people get locked into what they see on the cover of Business Week or some type of innovation magazine, where they think that's what they've got to create in their business, and that's not always what's necessary for them. And I've heard managers come into a room looking at a wall of brainstorming ideas and say, "Where's my Apple iPod?" And more times than not, they're talking about something that's going to make them tons of money and do all these sorts of things and really looks unique and looks different, but that's not always required in every industry that you go into to differentiate yourself from the competition. So the three big things I talked about were innovation's not always easy. It takes work and takes effort. Innovation doesn't stop once you have the ideas. And then I said that innovation doesn't always require a world-recognized, game-changing product to have an impact for a business.
And how did the audience react to this message?
Well, they were freed. In a lot of instances, they came up and talked to me and they said, "You know what? That helps us understand a little better that we can innovation won't always be easy. That helps us to understand that we can do innovation, that we can do things that we haven't thought we had before." So I think for them it was a great release.